Hey kiddos, it is your teacher, Miss Green. I am still alive, at least on the outside. On the inside is another story. I first just wanted to thank you so much for your patience and your understanding during this time while I've been away. Um, I am a heavy believer that knowledge is power. And the more we know, the more we can kind of handle what life throws at us, and especially engaging in science and, actively observing and taking in data and analyzing and responding accordingly is kind of, what we do. And so with that being said, I did kind of want to let y'all know what's been going on. As you know, in the past couple months, Ms. Green has had some issues with hearing and hearing well. And so I definitely thought it was something that was like allergy related and not that deep. As Ms. Green would say, it literally ain't that deep. And so with that being said, I went to my doctor's appointment last week on Tuesday, and I found out it is in fact that deep. And so I have gone from having 100% of my hearing in my left ear down to like 40% hearing. And so I am legally deaf now, and it's very sudden and unexplained. And so there's a lot of mysteries around it. I've been undergoing some medicinal and procedural treatments to hopefully try and salvage whatever is left of my hearing. It's been a kind of scary process and kind of a really huge adjustment for me. And so yeah, it's been interesting, to say the least. And, I am going to try my best to keep y'all in the loop about what's going on. I do have many other tests and treatments coming up, specifically to try and hopefully pinpoint what caused this sudden and permanent loss of hearing. Because unfortunately, it's not like, oh, like I listened to something way too loud, or, I jostled some of my ear bones. Unfortunately, it's something that's neural. And so a big part of my testing coming up is going to be like MRIs and just making sure everything in my brain is okay, at least okay in the sense of allowing me to hear. All y'all know that I can be quite quirky and seemingly out of my mind at times, but that's just normal. And so, yeah, that's what's been going on. And so I don't want to worry y'all. I just kind of want to arm you with that information and know that there isn't anywhere else I would want to be than there with you, learning and teaching with you and heckling you and being able to share my passion for science with you. And so just know that this is really kind of uncharacteristic of me. I hate being away, but further that y'all are still on the forefront of my mind, even through this kind of difficult new chapter in my life. And so, yeah, anyways, thank you for listening, I guess, coming to my TED Talk. And yeah, y'all take care. Hopefully see you soon. Hi, it is me, your teacher. I miss y'all so much. Thank you so much for kind of holding tight and hanging in there as I've been kind of working through this, new normal for me. It's been tough, just like psychologically, physically, but also a lot of the treatments and procedures I've had this past week has really taken it out of me. So I apologize if my energy is not usually, at its, um, status quo. But you know what? We're here. So let's go ahead and take a gander at our packet 0 that you've been working on this week. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. Deep. Cool. So we were able to talk about Tragedy of the Commons quite a bit. We talked a little bit about our opinions in regard to environmental matters. When we were talking about our opinion statements. Sorry, I get very distracted because not only is there no sound going into this ear, there's just whooshing and a constant just, it's like the sound when, something's disconnected and it lost a signal. It's very distracting and it's going to take me a little while to get used to it. So if I just look off to the side and just that's just me working through that. Okay. So hopefully you're able to check out these different case studies. The big idea sort of brain dump. These 4 big ideas are actually what is going to be in what's called our course and exam description for AP Environmental Science. And so let me actually show y'all how to access this. Let's go to Google Classroom. Okay. And if we go here, this little caret, the little arrow, will be a drop down that actually shows our class website. So neat little trick there. And so what you can do is you can copy and paste it. And once you do, you come to this very lovely website Ms. Green has put together. And so this does have some of our information and resources that are going to be useful for you. And so the CED that I was talking about is going to be this big old book. Okay, and so this is actually what we kind of focus in on in terms of our objectives and what we're trying to learn and what skills we're trying to develop during each unit and topic. And so if we scroll down, we can see that they have different skills, science practices, and our 4 big ideas. Okay, so that's where that is coming in on our packet. And so these are kind of the main milestones, kind of pillars that all of what we're learning kind of orbits around. And so in case you're wondering, what does it mean 4 big ideas with these little acronyms? And so let's go back. So that's what these are. And so you're not supposed to necessarily know everything about all these different topics. It's just kind of a way for you to investigate what you might already know about those 4 central pillars. For scientific thinking, we'll hopefully maybe do this horoscope activity when I get back, whenever that is. I apologize again for just everything being so tentative, I guess. And so what I need is scientific versus non-scientific ways of thinking. Grab that. axes on that. Trying to see the exact paper. Because unfortunately, as you saw, the link was not working. Oh, this is like a whole book chapter. Okay, so this might actually help with filling out this packet, even though it's not the article. Okay, and so I would say, you know what? Let's just go ahead and have y'all, if you haven't already, you can go ahead and do some Hugel research into inductive and deductive, though I'm sure a lot of you have had experience with that. They have you do the steps of the scientific method that hopefully you remember from before, and if not, it's in the slideshows. We're defining observation versus inference. Cool, a little fill in the blank. And then a little mix matchy. This is a great little way to remember these two different modes of thinking, the wet, dry, writing a conclusion. I think y'all should have gotten through this okay. Reading these different situations and coming up with what constants and conclusions. Okay, for the collapse of societies, I believe the Word document version of this should have a pretty good chance that you can click on these links. So if you have not already, go ahead and take a look. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and let me know. I think the Lorax, as you probably have figured, is kind of one of those central stories used in AP Environmental Science. And so then we have the reading for the TRUACS, and then our Easter Island case study. So this should work in our Word document. And then metric system review, dimensional analysis. So I know this might be kind of like triggering, I guess, for some of you. You're like, no, numbers. And so this great mnemonic device, King Henry died drinking chocolate milk, is a great way to remember our units. My go-to sort of method with doing anything involving numbers and stuffs like that. Let me show you my screen here. There you go. Okay. I always look at units. Okay. So are we talking kilometers? Are we talking grams? Are we talking pounds? Boo, the English system. Okay. And then I ask myself the question, where are we starting? And where are we trying to go? Okay. And so I kind of look at doing these calculations like a map. Okay, so we have our origin, we have our destination. Now we just need to figure out like the map quest. I don't even know if y'all know what that means. Like twists and turns of how do we get there, right? What landmarks are we gonna need to hit? And so let me see. Nope, that is not what I wanted. Perfect. Okay, and so for instance, with our practice down here, you probably were able to figure a lot of these out. And so with our symbols here, our unit symbols, we have like KM, MG, CM, right? Those letters out in front sometimes can indicate a prefix, therefore one of these guys up here to show us a relationship. And so I am a staunch believer in the metric system because it does make sense. And the entire world uses it except for the United States and like 2 other countries because we just have to be special. And so I like the metric system, as you can see, because it is all based on a base of 10. So it does make it pretty relatively easy to remember these different relationships between these values. And so I guess let's do this first example. So we have 1123 milligrams. Okay, so that's our starting point. And we want to get to grams. If you had me for chemistry, sometimes I might refer to that as gram town. Okay, I'm going from milligram town to gram town, where everybody's a grandma, living in graham cracker buildings, sending each other Teddy grams and like birthday grams. What are those? Like those grams you like send to somebody and it's like a group playing mariachi or singing or doing something. Yeah, gram town. And so we want to know what is going to be our journey here. And so luckily for us, our journey isn't going to be too complicated because we know that grams is our base unit. And that's just what we're trying to get to. Okay. And so we essentially are now just working with our prefix and the conversion factor that belongs to that prefix. Okay. And so in the centerpiece, we are going to have our dividing line. I know some folks like to do their arithmetic like this, where they kind of have like a nice little discrete box and they kind of have like a chart type thing. Okay. And so what we want to do is transfer milligrams to grams. And so I'm always going to look at my units. And so I'm going to ask what cancels out. Okay. And so I don't want milligram in my final answer. And so I want to get rid of milligram. So how I need to do that is I need to say, all right, well, how many milligrams are in a gram? Okay. So if I go back to my King Henry died, out of context, that sounds terrible, little chart. And so, yeah, you look at that and you can see that for every 1,000 milligrams, hello. I think my pen just died, question mark. Of course it did. For shame. For shame. Let me see. All right. Well, yes. So this is what is happening. So for every 100, I think I found a chord. That was so easy. I thought this would have been somewhere else. So let me see if I can get this to work. Don't mind this interruption. Everything's fine. Okay. All right. Why are you not charging? Why are you not charging? Okay. Well, let me head on back over to this guy. So let me see if I can just write with my finger. So we have 1,000 milligrams is equal to, oh, is it not gonna let me draw? There we go. Is equal to 1 gram. Okay. And so now we need to determine which one of these goes on top and which one of these goes on bottom. And so since we want to cancel out our milligrams, because that's not going to be in our final answer, I'm going to put that guy in the bottom. So we have our 1,000 milligrams over 1 gram. Okay. And so the way things cancel out is because if we have something dividing by itself, it's always 1, and anything multiplied by 1 is still the same number. So for instance, if we have like 5 divided by 5, that's equal to 1. If we have 6 divided by 6, that's 1. We have 2001 divided by 2001, that's 1. If we have x divided by x, that's still 1. And so when we have milligrams over milligrams, we can simply say these no longer exist. They are the number 1. And if we said this whole equation times 1, it's still going to be the same value that it would be otherwise. Okay. All right. And so now that we have this, we can see what units are left. Like I said, I always just follow the units, follow the units, follow the units. And so I see that I have grams left. Okay. And that's exactly what our destination is. That tells me, yes, everything's set up the way it should be. And now I can proceed with calculations. And so I heavily encourage you to do calculations that way, where you have it set up first. And make sure that your units line up before you start doing anything with numbers, just because, I feel like it's very easy to get like overexcited when you see numbers and like, oh yeah, like I know how to do this. And you kind of plug things in and you get a number out that maybe in that moment makes sense to you. And so you just write it down and move on. Or doesn't make sense, but you don't know where you went wrong. Right. And so having a setup like this, that kind of minimizes the opportunity for mistakes. And then if there are mistakes, you can easily go back and be like, oh, like I, flipped a conversion factor. And so, yeah, you don't have to do your calculations this way, but I highly recommend it. And so when we do this calculation, you can either plug it into your calculator, or ProMove, we can move decimal point. Okay, so when we're dividing, we are going to be moving our decimal point to the left. And so what that means is this number up front. Okay, since it's 1,000, we are going to move it 1, 2, 3 spaces. Okay, and so we will have, cool, and give us some space. 1.123. Okay, and this is going to be in scientific notation. Wait, no, wait, that's it. And this is great. Just kidding. No scientific notation needed. And so, so yeah, we'll definitely work on some of these. I hate to tell you that a good portion of the points attributed in the AP is going to be based on a calculation. And so we'll get more into those details as we talk about FRQs. But you'll have 3 FRQs in the exam, one of which includes calculation to sort of back up or substantiate your environmental plan. And so hopefully this was helpful, like a little kind of insight into Miss Green's brain and how she does calculations. And so let me go back to our packet, and don't mind my wife talking to little Vinny. She's really cute. And so she has to use like this really high pitched voice. And so, yeah, hopefully you're able to get through these dimensional analyses problems okay. Talking about systems and feedback loops is really important. This is like kind of a big major concept throughout environmental science. And so, yeah, does a positive feedback loop always have a positive good effect? Absolutely not. We have a lot of positive feedback loops, as you see in the video, that affects our environment and that we are continually just feeding into, right? And those effects are nowhere near good. Cool. Awesome. And so this is going to be a great practice dealing with FRQ type like setup. We'll talk more about action words because, you know, like describe is different than explain, and explain is different than identify. And so there's a lot of kind of quirky things there. All right, so if you wanted to get up, stretch, take a break, please go ahead and do so now. I am going to actually switch us on over to our next packet, packet 1. I think my wife is listening to like a medieval podcast, hence the fanfare music, if you can hear it. Okay, so I hope you had a nice break. Here is our next packet. So I'll have this also posted onto our Google Classroom so that you can go ahead and access whatever links are there. I was going to kind of walk you through this first PowerPoint, but I am really not feeling well. And so yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get you all set up, but then I am gonna kind of step away for a little bit. And so just like our Unit 0, we do have our main overarching topics. We have our vocab, and we do have these things to fill out. These are so nice. Oh, I love these packets. And so I would say, let's go ahead and get through this third page during class. We'll do the marine ecology video scavenger hunt for homework. And then we'll talk about biomes next class. Biomes are pretty cool. So you might have noticed in our classroom, we do have really big like biome posters, and so we'll do more with that. I'm so sorry. Obviously, something has disturbed Winnie. Even though she sounds like a really big dog, she's not. She's tiny. She's super tiny. Okay. And what was I going to say / do? I think, okay. Yeah, no, That's it. I'm sorry. I'm just, it's been a really rough week. The struggle has been real. It's just like hard to focus on the treatment I'm on, and I don't know, like this is so much more of a bigger like issue than I thought it would be. Um, yeah. In some ways I wish it was just like silent, but the like and the whooshing, it's a lot and very disorienting. So anyways, thank you for sticking around through Miss Green's rants and ravings as she is struggling. But best of luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Miss and love y'all. Please take care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll be able to see you soon. And just thank you so much again for your patience and understanding. I really, 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 really appreciate all of you.